Fnatic will be the ones to be defending this time first. Curious to see how will it be banned out, because last time we saw a Thatcher ban.
Capitao from Fnatic. It's one of their...
Yeah, you were actually making a point right before the cast as well that they weren't quite favoring the Capitao ban before.
Capitao and Echo, Capitao and Mira, that's their favorites, at least so far has been recently. Let's have a look at what Mindfreak will bring.
Ooh, okay.
They ban Buck all the time. It's really funny. It's not like map. I thought it was map dependent at first. They've banned Buck on Consulate against Fnatic last season. They've banned Buck on Coastline against Wildcard at the Six Masters. They just like banning Buck. To be fair, Fnatic used it pretty well on Coastline.
At the moment, really, Buck is in a similar position to what Mira was pre-ban phase introduction. He's really potent, and he's just about gaining enough traction to be viable for so many plays. So outing him for a fair few teams will be a shot in the foot, really.
Yeah, I like this. I like this from Mindfreak. Yes, there is a potential for it to be a shot in the foot, for it to deal more damage to Mindfreak than to that of Fnatic. But I think that when we do get to the Fnatic attack half, they're going to have to think about how to use an alternative to Buck. And straight out of the gate, we see Sledge brought by Mindfreak, an operator which has a lot of overlap, but doesn't quite do everything that the Buck would do.
And then you have also the addition of Zephyr. You have potentially on Nomad or IQ the breaching charges as well. And you can still have plentiful amount of flexibility with destruction as well. So in this case, this could go pretty much anywhere. And finally, Thatcher is also coming into play.
So with Mute and Cade ready to, and even, I guess, to some degree, the Mozzie, these are all operators which the Thatcher you really need to deal with. Mute and Cade both to deny those key walls on Cafe. What is typically meta these days on Cafe? For the attackers, take control of Piano, and that involves opening up this wall that Virtue's reinforcing right now at the top of the red stairs. And then the really important one you want to open up is into Freezer, where Lusty is standing. And Cade and Mute both in tandem will really help to hold on to that. Thatcher's going to make it a little bit easier for Mindfreak to get that done as well.
So as long as those ADSs will be denied.
That's a Cade charge placed on the floor below. The radius of that charge actually goes upstairs into and electrifies that wall that we just saw there. Nice little trick.
Yeah, just a nice trick to keep hiding the Cade charges is those are much more flexible comparative to Bandits, say. And they offer plentiful amount of coverage as well. I mean, with a single charge, you can cover 2 reinforcements, and if there's a barbed wire right near it, you could also cover that as well.
Yeah, and in this case, the Cade is used in such a way that it makes it difficult to shoot for Mindfreak. So that one placed on the piano wall inside. Ooh. Oh, what, 2 people repelling. Surely Virtue wants to run out. He's going to go downstairs into garage just so he's ready. Taking out the drone does let the attackers know potentially that he wants to make this happen. Specker goes for that run out. Doesn't find anything. He's going to get back inside safely thanks to Virtue though.
So the damage did get dealt anyways to Jack Daddy. So he's currently on 50% health, which would force him to be maybe a little bit more careful about how he wants to approach. He did fall back to the fact that he is now just from above trying to get some information on the utility of Fnatic. But as it stands, really already a minute gone, and only now Magnet manages to actually find a kill onto Kings.
And wow, that is the Thermite dead. That is such a huge, impactful pick. Thermite, that's the only hard breach that Mindfreak has, so all their hopes and dreams of opening up that freezer wall that I'd put so much emphasis on in the prep phase, that's gone. I'm not sure whether I think they did open the piano wall, so that's one thing done, but it'll have to be a frag fest. Ippy Style enters downstairs. He's watching the player inside of Train right now, but Specker's just playing slowly. He does spot him, and there, Ippy Style takes down his former teammate, evening up the numbers, but there's still a lot of work to be done for Mindfreak on this attack.
Funnily enough, but when Specker was part of the Mindfreak, it was the mentor and the trainee relationship between the 2 of those players, and now Ippy Style taking out Specker is definitely one of those throwbacks as well. But as it stands for now, it is a flurry of kills to come around. Old trades going all around, 2 apiece right now with a minute to go between the 2 teams, and everything seems to be really possible.
It's good aggression so far from Fnatic, always ready to poke a hole in the Mindfreak attack. But we are at even numbers here, so it's not counted out yet for Mindfreak.
Neither is for Fnatic, really. But now that Virtue has exposed his position, he will be probably the one to be the main aggressor here. whereas Rizraz will be the one to keep holding the angle. He does get spotted by itbstyle, and I don't think he still yet realizes, now he does, that the position has been exposed. So with 26 seconds left to go, really it's up to Cutie and itbstyle to try to bring this back, but the shotgun of the Mute might be the one to seal the deal really out here. Whereas Virtue just keeps staying steadfast. Could potentially pull out this very similar play that they've done on Coastline, but it certainly seems like this might not be the case. The peak to come out from Cutie, it is all up to itbstyle. 6 seconds left to go, and Virtue would be the one to close things out. Fnatic take round number 1.
A good hold from Fnatic guys on site. What really spelled death for Mindfreak was Fnatic's willingness to always be aggressive. Lusty playing inside of Sakar on the Cade, waiting until he could jump out and take out 2 players in Piano. He only got 1, but Fnatic did stay aggressive on that. I feel like in the pre-show, maybe we didn't give enough to credit to Fnatic for their cafe play in the past, because while they did lose it to Fury in the Pro League, the first half of this Pro League season, they did perform really well against Fury on this map at the Six Masters themselves. Against Fury, they destroyed them, and Virtue went absolutely crazy. I think he got, I don't know, he stole the show, and he had like a 10 KD or something like that.
Remind me of any game where Virtue doesn't steal the show, really, because this man is a machine for fragging. And to see him not frag out is a very big rarity nowadays, because the man can do some very wondrous things.
Give him the 416 on Jaeger, and he'll do the rest.
Exactly.
So it is Fnatic rotating down into the library and dining rooms. Library and fireplace. So they will have some presence upstairs. You can see Valkyrie cameras placed here in Piano as well by Specker. He had one in the Christmas tree last round, but he's moved it to the grandfather clock now.
I like the fact that he's still keeping it, that the coverage is still there. There's still going to be plentiful amount of information, but this time it'll still keep Mindfreak on their toes, really, about where could that Valkyrie camera be. And yes, they have the IQ, but last time IQ wasn't really utilized that much to find all of that utility. Better yet, that IQ went down pretty quickly.
Yeah, a good setup on side as well for Fnatic. We saw some bullet holes being made by Lusty earlier to hold onto Library from inside the laundry.
Look at all of those pings as well. Jack Daddy getting a very overwhelming number of pings about all the electrical utility that Fnatic has brought, and to no wonder, really, all 5 of them really have the detectable utility. Oh.
So Mindfreak will start on the top floor, on the roof rather, as they make the way to take control of the top floor. Always step 1 on Cafe, almost always I should say. Step 1 on Cafe, droning out, gathering information, finding out what kinds of position Fnatic are playing in, sees the rotate hole, sees the Jaeger as well inside a freezer, and Cutie moves in a position to cut that off, but it's a bit too late now. He's lost that drone, and he didn't capitalize on that information. Now it's old information, he doesn't know where the Jaeger is.
And that could potentially hurt him very much. You remember how we compared the drone economy between Fnatic and Mindfreak during the Coastline game, and it was always in favor of Fnatic. They were able to always save their drones, still continue gaining all that information passively, whereas Mindfreak kind of attempt to go for a very aggressive play, and occasionally it pays off, but for the most of it, it doesn't really. But it seems that itbstyle was able to just net himself that kill very quickly to allow just further advancement, really.
Indeed, they do advance on the top floor, using a thermite charge to enable an entrance into the bathroom. Doesn't really get you very far, though. Mindfreak also lost that 1 player, itbstyle, upstairs.
The issue right now for Mindfreak is that they are using so much utility for the upstairs clear, and so much time is already wasted. So with 53 seconds to go, they only now will start commencing that push and opening up the angles. Oh, Cutie just misses the angle as well onto one of the Fnatic players, and that could potentially hurt him quite substantially.
This is a nice job, though, from Cutie to open up the floor. He doesn't have active drones gathering information onto the objective, which is really what I'd like to see here. 30 seconds left, and we need to see some picks from Mindfreak on this floor.
Cutie now has plentiful amount of angles to hold, but he just misses the angle from the Kaida, I believe. that could hurt him quite substantially. There's the C4 to come out and will be able to take him out as well. Rizraz, fantastic job. 15 seconds left to go. There's the peek from Virtue that will be able to down. And Kings is down now. 10 seconds to go. Shaq is the one to be dealing plentiful amount of damage. And right now, the site is still not in full control. The diffuser is down, and oh no, it all falling apart. Lusty and Rizraz are the ones to close things out once again.
And a great job from Lusty in particular that round, really stepping up, contesting angles through the floor to prevent Mindfreak from finding their picks, and then of course holding on at the last moment as Mindfreak began to file through. A great round from Fnatic overall. Mindfreak a little bit slow on the uptake, a little bit unable to take out these players on the objective as well, find those picks for the entry.
Yeah, well, 2-0 so far, advancement for Fnatic, and it certainly seems that your initial prophecy of 7-1 could potentially be coming to fruition here, Dev, as Mindfreak so far just unable to find any response to the way how Fnatic playing out their defense.
So now they rotate downstairs to kitchen. This bomb site, we've seen a lot of play on the new cafe. For those who are more familiar with the old cafe, this bomb site, this bottom floor really, is probably where we've seen the most change on the map. Completely reworking the kitchen area, separating it out into a couple different rooms, removing the objective inside of the bakery and just making the kitchen sites one big objective, or two of the big rooms in the kitchen rather. So now it's much more difficult to get that plant down. And this bomb site really revolves around gaining control of this main corridor that we see Magnet running through. If the attackers can maintain or gather and maintain the control of this corridor, then really what you have is defenders on the bomb site in a fish in a barrel. If the defenders though can maintain control of this corridor, keep their players ready to contest angles and go for flanks around the bomb site, that really makes such a big difference for the defense and allows them that flexibility to thwart the attack.
We actually seen plentiful amount of times when the defense will be using a castle as well to close off some of the doorways to have that ability to stay within that hallway for longer. But it's certainly not the case here with Fnatic. They seeming to be prompting to go for a little bit more flexible, maybe a little bit more aggressive play here for the defense, but that's a bit too early maybe for now to judge. But as it stands, it is, I believe, Virtue that is currently roaming around in the dining area just outside of the bar on the ground floor and could be quite detrimental here.
Okay, this spot where Virtue is playing right now, he dealt so much damage in the matches in the Six Masters. Lusty's aggressive inside of prep, goes for a C4, but Virtue's still behind the cupcake stand. Both of these two players, Virtue and Lusty, are going to try and maintain control of Bakery for as long as possible. An upside-down repel, but we know Virtue's really good at contesting these angles. I don't know how he wins these fights, but he always does. A grenade comes in, deals him up even more damage, but he's just going to keep on shooting back, and Fnatic will join him. Lusty's there as well. Virtue gets on outside, one free pick, and he just gets out of there. How does this man do what he does?
He literally just turns into the Australian incarnation of Boris the Bullet Dodger, really, around here, as just able to get out of such hot situation and still would be able to frag it out. And I would not be surprised if we'll be seeing him actually close things out for the round number 3 here for Fnatic.
You only did get one pick. I don't want to overstate that, but it has made a bit of difference, and that's the primary entry fragger for Mindfreak down as well, Ippy style. Maintaining this control upstairs as well is strong for Mindfreak. They can pick off these players on the bomb site, but Fnatic still have control of that hallway. Kings can try to contest, but he's very low. One shot from the rifle of Virtue, and he's out. And there are two players from Fnatic still playing around the around that hallway in the small rooms.
Yeah, well, for now, Jack Daddy, while still being in a little bit of that extra safety behind the reinforced walls, was able to find a couple of destructions on the utility. But right now, this is where he's going to start making the move. He's already in the kitchen all prone, so he might be able to pop out, play whack-a-mole here with Fnatic. But who will be able to shut things down quicker? Because Curie right now is still on the drone. Jack Daddy will be going in for the plant. Can Magnet deny it? Because there's the angle as well from the sledge.
Oh,
there's the angle. Won't be able to kick things off, but it's Speck and Lusty to get the frags.
Good angle to deny that. And Specker, Lusty, and Virtue at the end, cleaning everything up. It was a nice little idea from Mindfreak to get a cheeky play to get the plant down, but Fnatic were too on the ball. They did just push up and shoot the players who were trying to get that diffuser down.
Certainly did, and just like that, it is a 3-0 so far. Fnatic just going on a whole new level, every step ahead of Mindfreak. It was a good idea, it was a good initiative from Jack Daddy and Cutie, but unfortunately that did not full-on work out. Shaq to come around and swap around to Nomad to potentially have some extra movement room for himself and for the team. Whereas Beastyle will be swapping around to Jackal, bringing in a little bit more of that roam clear utility, finally realizing that Fnatic are going for a very aggressive play. Virtue specifically is the playmaker right now on a fair few of those rounds, and Mindfreak need to deal with him on the double.
You can't just treat Virtue like a normal player where you think, okay, I'm going to get myself into an advantageous gunfight and then take that gunfight. Because especially with specific locations like that cupcake stand, Virtue just knows those angles so well, and he knows what he does that just always works. He's always going to get a pick on that. Mindfreak can't just keep playing into Virtue's hands like that. August did the exact same thing when they were playing against Fnatic in the Six Masters Grand Final. It just didn't work.
Yeah, well, maybe this will be the round where Mindfreak realize some of their mistakes and will be able to readjust them. But as it stands, it certainly seems that Fnatic are on the rise, and the defense of the Cafe Dostoyevsky definitely seeming a stark difference comparative to the very first game of the Cafe on the first half of Season 10. For now, though, it is Specca on the roam. Same as probably just about 80%.
Close.
So close, already missing 2 of those peaks. Cutie will decide to play it a little bit more carefully. Didn't lose any bits of health from any of those firefights, so we'll be able to run unscathed. But as it stands, missed opportunity is still a missed opportunity here.
Yeah, now last time Mindfreak attacked this bomb site, it was Kings to be picked off really early, right after he detonated that thermite charge on the piano wall, which prevented Mindfreak from being able to open up into Freezer at all. And they don't have the Thatcher this time, which means it's going to be very difficult to get rid of the K charges that Lusty will have placed down, but still surely Mindfreak need to be more vigilant and open up that wall. So much drone denial though from Fnatic. They don't have the Mozzie, but they still have that mute. Makes it very difficult for Mindfreak to get the information and get that confidence.
Right now, Cutie is the one to be going in for the peak and will be shut down by Specca as well on the run out. But I believe that was Magnet actually on taken down with a grenade, so that could be still a worthy trade. As it stands, the Maestro is down, so none of those shooty lasers from the Italian operators. But as it stands, he still can get picked up. He's in a very safe position from what I could have gathered from all the silhouettes, but it seems that Beastyle would just be able to shut things down.
Nice pick for Beastyle. Still a bit concerned for Mindfreak. No Thatcher is going to make this very difficult. If they had the Thatcher, they could easily get this wall open. Oh, an aggressive peek out of White Hallway. Just as Jack Dad places down that Claymore. Kings is nowhere to be seen. Mindfreak, or rather Fnatic, do have that information on piano from the Maestro camera in Cigar. Mindfreak don't really have a way to deal with that. With their sledge taken out, it's the only operator who has anything to counter that. Kings, though, he doesn't really need his thermite charges to have an impact on the round. He'll take out one play. He's now going to place his thermite charge down. We're likely going to see this wall get open, but it's not... Oh, hello!
Oh,
trying to peek, and you get taken down. Kings is on the fragmite here, and he's marching on through. 30 seconds left, and Mindfreak are in the driver's seat, clearing out into the freezer now. Another kill for Kings, doing so much against his former team. It's just Specca left, the newest recruit on the Orange Boys, and it's just him against 3 players of Mindfreak.
The pings do come out, and the C4 will be able to down Beastyle. 8 seconds left to go. They need to reform. They need to get that plant down on the ASAP. The Nomad charge will be able to slow him down, and the plant will be potentially going down. Kings to plant another Nomad charge. Specca is just getting absolutely bullied out here, and he will be able to not secure, really. Shaq will be the one to hold the angle, and just like that, Mindfreak do manage to bring in a comeback.
All on the back of Kings on that entry as well. A great job from Fragmite to really take that ground that was needed. Mindfreak moved forward off of that man advantage. As soon as they started to steal ahead, they kept running. They kept that train chugging along. And that really was what flooded the site and prevented Fnatic from getting that down. I'm actually surprised that Specker from below did deny the plant with that C4, as I thought Ipistar would have been safe as he was planning on the counter, but he must have been just low enough that that C4 dealt enough damage.
Pretty sure he was not on the counter though.
He would have died straight up in between. Oh, really? I thought it was on the counter.
Because that's... Okay. Well, either way, yeah. It was still a very good play initially from Specker, but unfortunately just not enough space and not enough time really to make any other impact here. But still...
Yeah, we do have the first round now taken for Mindfreak. So they're on the game. We were talking about the prospect of a 7-1, which is what happened last season when these two teams played against each other, but it's still on the cards.
It's still on the cards, definitely, and it's still too early to potentially, for me, really to call it a comeback, but it is nonetheless, it is a fresher take to what was the previous 3 rounds, really.
Yeah, Mindfreak have realized that they can take the initiative when it's needed.
Interestingly enough, it is Lusty who is currently top fragging for Fnatic, whereas I was probably was expecting to see Virtue or Riz even.
Yeah, well,
but it
Fnatic
is pretty
overall,
balanced, though.
Fnatic have been playing very well-rounded, but there was that one round on Library where Lusty just did everything, really.
Yeah.
And now that is not where Fnatic will choose to rotate to. They could go to Library now, but after losing Bar once, I think they're just going to try it again. Mindfreak are bringing that Thatcher this time, so it'll be much easier. They can just straight up pop that freezer wall. They don't need to get the washroom wall like they did last time.
Issue is Mindfreak don't have the Nomad anymore, so none of that slowdown of the flank. No more passive flank watch that you had before, which was essentially what allowed them to go for that safe plan, because Specker just ran into 2 of those Nomad charges and was slowed down immensely.
Yeah, they'll have to dedicate a player to that active flank watch, utilize more drones, or they can just use Ippy style. I wouldn't be surprised if Ippy style is on flank watch. I think it kind of suits his play style a little bit, just really taking gunfights, and especially because he has that Inox scanner with the Jackal, can help to contain some of the players as well, get that information. He's got a great gun for it as well.
Yeah, well, the breach will be once again coming out from Kings. This time he won't be going down, at least just yet. Claymore will be placed at a much more conspicuous position to blend in with the red rug, and Shaq is already in the piano as well, so already a pretty swift take of the Cigar Lounge with minimal losses for now. I probably already jinxed it, and half a round to be gone is a good start.
Also going to disable the Evil Eye inside of Cigar. Ippystar's going to shoot that. Good job from Mindfreak to adapt to some of Fnatic's utility that they spotted in the previous round. An EMP grenade, the last EMP grenade, in fact, is going to have to be placed on this main wall. Kings is exposed to his left, but he's going to have to trust his teammates to hold on as he places a thermite charge and detonates it onto the freezer wall, but it's tricked by the Cade charge. That's why you've got to do it right at the same time as that EMP goes down. Mindfreak don't have any EMPs left, which means it's pretty much impossible for them to get that freezer wall open now.
I think it was rather just poor timing, really. I don't think they've expected as well the Kayed trick to come out and just Fnatic to be ballsy about it, really. For now, though, Rizraz is in a pretty much impenetrable position if he keeps on playing safe from here.
And they don't have a thermite charge anymore to open up the washroom wall to take him out.
Yeah.
Last time, Kings really opened up this round just by entering in, but with a player on White Stairs, it's going to be much more difficult. There's a trade back and forth, but it's going the way of Fnatic so far. Shaq and the rest of Mindfreak will have to step it up from here. Rizraz taken so very low, and Speck is down here in the long hallway. Shaq very aware of his position. He's going to take this fight. Surely he wins it. Good night, Specker. 2 versus 3 now, but this is still very much in the hands of Fnatic, as it's now a 1 versus 3, all on Shaq. Pushing up the White Stairs. You really couldn't be in a worse position here, and there's nothing really that he can do. No chance for a plant. Virtue wouldn't even have to take that kill to win the round, and Fnatic jump back in the game.
Virtue just doesn't take any hostages, no nothing, no remorse whatsoever. For Mindfreak roster, really, just shutting them all down altogether from just his positioning at the White Stairs, really. He was able to play a very flexible play here, and being able to swap around between Cocktail and White Stairs was able to ensure that he would still be on top of his game. So for now, though, the last round of the first half, Fnatic are leading 4-1. Can Mindfreak, though, bring this back is the main question here.
Can you imagine if that second thermite charge had gone off. If they had had a thermite charge to open up the washroom wall or the freezer wall, it would have made such a difference in the round for Mindfreak. That was really what spelled death. And at the end, it came down to simply throwing the Thatcher grenade too early, or you could say placing the thermite charge too late. Kings was worried. He didn't want to get peeked from bar because that hole was exposed. Placing the thermite charge, he was exposed to a push. So he had to call out to his teammates to make sure that they were ready to cover him as he planted the thermite charge. And that meant that it waited so much time that the Cade trick just worked perfectly.
Precisely. It's a very good point there, Dev.
Now we're on to Library, though. Previously, when Fnatic defended this, it was all on the back of Lusty, who had not only a good early pick, but also held very fast on the bomb site inside of Library. Mindfreak weren't really able to kill him from above using the floor. That's an interesting angle. It's a nice one.
That actually, I wouldn't be opposed to this kind of angle as well. That
a zero magnification ACOG. I like it.
Yeah, it's just when you when you crank that FOV slider all the way.
So, would you have for Fnatic a fairly loose hold? Saw previously Specker and Virtue were very keen to go for these aggressive runouts, and Lusty's going to enable it with an impact grenade. This is a really nice, cheeky idea for Fnatic, and it could be working perfectly. Virtue goes out for the run. He takes out one. Can he dedicate to another one? He might well, but no! He gets that kill, but it's traded eventually. Totally worth it. Fnatic lose 2 players, but they get 2 in return. I reckon that's worth it.
And look what utility has been lost. That is IQ and Thermite off the board. Yes, Mindfreak still have a second Heart Breacher in face of Hibana, but things are going to get much, much more tougher now, just for the fact that you have way less utility to work with.
And a huge part of that is the drones. People don't often think of that, but we just lost 4 drones.
Oh, yeah.
All gone. I mean, they might have already been placed up in useful positions, but it's likely that both of those players still had a drone in their pocket. You just killing those 2 players, not only do you take out their ability to watch flank or what have you, take gunfights, but that's so much information gathering gone from the attack.
Yeah, that's certainly going to hurt Mindfreak, but as it stands, they're getting pretty close, all things considered. Close to the side. It is a 3v3. And with 1 minute and 38 seconds left to go, they might be able to get themselves a couple openings or regroup themselves even, because that could certainly work out very well for Lusty. Sorry, for Mindfreak. The impact trick won't be able to do anything, and the flashbangs to come around just to solidify that breach should allow Mindfreak to have a couple extra angles to hold and to cut off as well.
Yeah, you don't often see this, but those ankle height holes will deny a lot of those positions inside of Library. It, of course, is a double-edged sword, because if Mindfreak try to plant in there later, it just gives Fnatic more angles to deny that plant from. 3 versus 3 now. Fnatic obviously don't have any top floor control. They really sacrificed that when they had 2 players die on the run out, but Mindfreak still need to find these players inside Shaq. Likely going to give away his position by meleeing this barbed wire, but so far he hasn't been taken out.
Right now, the main issue is for them needing to deal with Lusty and Magnet to go down. That's a good start for Shaq. The frag grenade to come out. Oh, there it is. There's the collapse, Dev. Mindfreak just clean house swiftly. And that's a good start. That's potentially a good ground for Mindfreak to come back on, albeit that it is a 4-2 scoreline on the first half. But this time, Mindfreak to go on defense could potentially bring some even saucier strats out, really.
Fnatic do have a pattern. Every time they are in the disadvantage, they play extra aggressive. And that was something that I'm not sure whether it was directly read into by Mindfreak or whether it just they were simply more prepared for that late aggression, because as soon as Mindfreak got that pick at the end, it was a 3v3, and then Shaq gets a pick onto Magnet, all of Fnatic step up, and they're like, hey, we have to start getting picks now, and that's it's a good idea. When you're at a disadvantage, that's when you need to make plays. When you're in an advantage, you can sit there and wait for it, but when you're in a disadvantage, you really need to make something happen.
Certainly seems like it has. For now, Jack Daddy and the rest of the Mindfreak team will be coming over to the bar and cocktail and actually bringing in somewhat of a similar lineup to what we saw to Fnatic, minusing out the mute to bring in a smoke. So way less of the actual passive breach denial that we saw from Fnatic to be brought in face of Kite, in face of the mute. This time banking more on just the plant denial. So
yeah,
potentially
or entry denial. It doesn't necessarily have to be plant,
yeah.
right? Imagine this choke point in the washroom.
Yeah, that is a good
inside
point.
the freezer, around pixel spot inside of piano. There's a lot of ways that you can use those gas grenades
The
to
main
prevent
issue,
that push.
main issue I'm seeing is two things. Speka just picked an Ashe. So that's just a swift giveaway that man's gonna go for a aggressive entry.
I wonder why he's not doing the Zephyr. Like, why Ashe? Because he always plays Zephyr.
Only the Mindfreak players would know the real answer here. But the second issue here is Virtue on Gridlock, who has been performing very well on being either passive or being very aggressive. Either of those roles were working out for the 3 armor operator here. And what it says to me is that we might be seeing a very swift take of, say, the piano by Fnatic, and then taking control of the side and then forcing Mindfreak to go into the retake. And that's where I think their operator lineup might shine, because that smoke remotely can't deny the plant, even when one of the sites is forfeited. Maestro can give plentiful amount of information, plus deal some damage, just a tiny bit. Same goes for Legion. Toss out enough of those goo mines, same case. So it's rather a bit more of an active retake than Fnatic's active hold. That's how I see it, at least.
On the Fnatic side, it looks like they do have some presence in piano as well, playing someone at Pixel at the moment. They have some barbed wire to really slow down the Fnatic push as Lusty opens up that main wall onto piano. As they do make an entry, they'll have barbed wire to contend with, as I mentioned. And, oh, okay, it's a deployable shield at Pixel's spot. And King's playing on it as well. He's going to get very aggressive. He's exposed to a couple angles, and he gets flashed out as well. But Rizraz upstairs on the very top floor is the first one to find a pick. Kings really needs to make a difference here, and that aggression gets punished. If only he'd stayed back against this shield. Speka wants to try to take out that shield now with the Ashe charge. It's his last remaining Ashe charge, but he now has piano control, and we're just about ready for Luster to open up that main wall. It might not even be necessary because frags are going all the way for Fnatic. 2 versus 4 now. Shaq and Itbystyle have to step up.
Certainly looks like it, and the pre-fires from Fnatic will be coming out. They have the control, well, the straightaway full-on control of the bar, and Shaq is left all alone to actually deny that for now, as the rotation from Itbystyle will be coming out. He's very wary about the potential drop down from the skylight, but it's not his primary issue right now. Oh boy.
This thermite charge popping on
no.
the freezer wall, and now Itbystyle taken out all up to Shaq here, hiding inside the smoke. You'll find that one pop of the head with the SMG-11, but he's got a lot of work to do, and Specka's going to take him out. There you go. Fnatic come out of the gate swinging on their attacking half with a very strong, convincing bar attack.
I'm kind of starting to lean more towards how Fnatic really defended this side, because like we mentioned just before that round, it is definitely a departure towards a bit more of a flexible, maybe a little bit harder type of defense.
Yeah, Fnatic were more relying on drone denial and wall denial,
yeah,
which Mindfreak clearly struggled with. They didn't once get the freezer wall open, and even the round that they won.
Yeah, only
no,
once,
they didn't get the freezer wall open. They got the washroom wall open once, which helped out, but they didn't get the freezer wall open once because of the KE charges and the Thatcher failures. But Mindfreak, the one round they did win on the top floor was when they just yeeted on inside, and Fnatic weren't quite ready for Mindfreak to just push on inside, take gunfights when Fnatic were at a numbers disadvantage. Fnatic, they played slowly, they got some picks, they opened up the wall, they just did your textbook stuff. Mindfreak didn't really have anything to contend it with. But this time they have brought something out that's a little bit different. They have brought out the Clash. It's Itbystyle. They've sacrificed the Maestro. No more deployable shield at Pixel spot. So what is Itbystyle going to have for us? And how much of an impact is this Clash pick going to have on the round?
I'm a bit questioning the choice of the Clash, but maybe there's a much grander plan here at stake. There is a double ADS set up, so potentially what we might be seeing is having Clash and maybe
triple ADS.
Oh, Jesus Christ,
Man. Okay, so I sincerely hope for Jack Daddy's sake that one Thatcher grenade just doesn't just come and waste all that in one.
Yeah, because Fnatic have that very utility to get rid of all 3 of them in a single EMP grenade.
That said, it's pretty uncommon to place an EMP there, especially not if you don't expect there to be 3 of them. If you knew there's 3 of them, you'd probably use an EMP, but otherwise you'd want to use your EMP on the walls and that kind of thing. That said, Mindfreak aren't doubling down with any kind of Cade or Mute to prevent the walls.
Okay, now this is an interesting play. So 3 people currently holding the piano, and the rest are on site. And Mozzie is actively preparing that angle. Look at all the he could do so much damage if the angle will be right. The drone to come out should be denied by the pest.
But as they get past it.
No, they just got past it, yeah. And so Mozzie's plan now fully revealed, and they only for now know that there is a Mozzie there. I don't think they know about the clash.
I'm surprised he's contesting this angle despite having been droned out. It's very dangerous. I believe that is one of the players on the roof contesting it right on back. Kings is in the advantage in this gunfight, but he's been droned out again. Even just killing these drones right now is a huge advantage to his team. So many drones come through, but Specker does win that pixel fight.
That was holo on holo.
Yeah, great job from Specker to win that. The low recoil of the R4C really helps you win in those scenarios. And a bit overzealous there for Kings to continue contesting that angle, but half the round's gone, and Fnatic still don't have control of piano. So I'd say this is pretty good from Mindfreak so far.
Yeah, well, albeit that they still, you could say, sacrificed the C4 on Mozzie and his guns. They certainly still should be able to deny plentiful amount of play and ground with that clash, especially with the fact that there's also a Jaeger there. Third flashbang to come out from Ash now. Should be able to net himself. Oh, nice peek for Jack Daddy.
Good job from Jack Dad. This strategy is working really well. The clash can call out the positions, but that's White Stairs window really helping out. The clash can now contest that, but Jack Daddy gets down in the hallway. That's dangerous, and now pixel control is completely eliminated. That position on White Stairs window had such a heavy impact on the round. Now 40 seconds left, and Fnatic have double the amount of players left than that of Mindfreak. And only one of the players has a proper SMG. The other one is a 1-speed clash.
It certainly is going to hurt in the next 25 seconds as things are about to start getting really hot. The CC shield got disabled, the flashbang's coming out as well as yet another EMP, so no more of that play from the electrical shield, and only now the crossfire's coming out, and Fnatic will be the ones to claim point number 6.
Really great round from Fnatic, a great adaptation to hard counter that position that Mindfreak were holding at Pixel with the clash and the deployable shield. It was just one player repelling on that White Stairs window. This was hugely impactful, not just the kill, but the fact that it forced them to make that rotation. Instead of having 2 players dedicated watching piano, as Mindfreak wanted, they had to have the clash watch the hallway. And that really just made such a difference, pulled apart Mindfreak's attack, and Mindfreak's defense rather, and now it's got Fnatic on match point, the second one of today.
Exactly, and with a much bigger difference comparative to what Coastline seen, 6-2 potentially might be ending on 7-2 scoreline, which is, I mean, score-wise, you could technically say that this is an improvement from what we saw previously between Fnatic and Mindfreak, where second map ended up being 7-1, but that's not that much of an improvement, really. Yeah,
with Mindfreak, they're on an upward trajectory right now. They did so well at MEO, the Six Masters. Coming back, we've talked about this season, Mindfreak have seemingly been overtaken. They were the 3rd place ANZ after Fnatic and Wildcard. And now we're thinking maybe Oddity's taking that 3rd place after those top 2 teams. Mindfreak slipping away a little bit. But Mindfreak's, their performance at MEO really had me thinking, okay, maybe Mindfreak is on a comeback train. Maybe they can take a fight to Fnatic. But it doesn't look like Mindfreak are tight enough just yet. And Fnatic's new roster seems to be working really well. I think this is starting to look like a much better Fnatic than we've seen in the past. And here, especially on Cafe, they've found their home. And they're looking to close out this one, take 6 points home tonight.
Certainly seems to be the case, as like you said, the roster change and pretty much inclusion of a much more flexible roster of the players certainly seeming to be working wonders for the currently leading ANZ team. On the side of Mindfreak, though, they did make an adjustment with ITB Style bringing over a Vigil in a potentially last try for their defense. Potentially could work, though.
There's a lot of drone denial. If you think about Mozzie, Mute, and Vigil all have counter in the information gathering, and I just don't think that's going to be the play here for Mindfreak. We want to call it before it's done, but yes, Fnatic have been really good with their drones getting information, but when it comes down to a situation where Fnatic don't have information, they're happy to just entry. They're happy to hold angles from windows. And these operators that they've brought, that Mindfreak have brought rather, that's not going to counter that if it comes down to Fnatic just having to file in through doorways and take fights.
Certainly looks like it, as for now the drop down already is coming out from Fnatic, so the potential take of the white stairs as well as the hallway could very much work out, as Rizraz is the one to be repelled upside down. Virtue to open things out onto Cutie, and that is a Valk off the board who will be now forced to watch the hacked drones as well as the black eye cameras.
This position downstairs, it's Ippy style on the Vigil.
Oh boy.
Magnet seems to be aware of this position, or tempting fate outside. Virtue takes control upstairs, and he takes another kill with him as well. Huge man advantage for Fnatic as Mindfreak fall apart. 3 roamers destroyed, it's just 2 left, and a minute that they'll have to delay. Fnatic have the man advantage, and they can just refrag out the rest of this round.
Certainly looks like it, as Virtue claiming already a 3rd kill for himself. Potentially might be going on a roll with a quad kill, but as it stands, Rizraz is the one to be gunning for it, and there it is. Flawless round to close things out. Fnatic takes full 6 points for themselves on this playday.
They started off a little bit behind, and it took them some time to warm up on map 1, but as you said, Cthulhu, they take the full 6 points after today, and we have no doubts that the best team in ANZ is making their way back into this Pro League with their eyes set firmly on APAC Finals. A great game for Fnatic.
Great game indeed, as that has now set them before the wildcard matchup. This currently sets them first on the leaderboard, which is definitely what they want right now. They need to be as high as possible